Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we're going to be talking about Quiggold today. So for those of you at the time of recording, Quiggold's marquee event starts in roughly 50 minutes, just under an hour, and we're going to be talking about how to react to this unit. With the delay to the Pirate Era battle, there's a lot of questions on what do I do moving forward. Do I have to wail on Quiggold? Do I need to get Quiggold? And do I need to get kicks? How do I approach this, Phil? I'm free to play. I need help. So we're going to talk about what this changes, if anything, what you should be approaching this for, and also kind of moving not just with Quiggold, not just with kicks, but also considering Brutus, Vane, and Captain Silvo coming later in this era as we get closer to the release of Galactic Legends Hondo. So with that said, folks, please like and subscribe, comment down below. Let's give a huge shout out to our channel members for their continued support. If you guys are ever interested, that link is below, along with a link to our Discord. Go check it out. Really appreciate you guys just keeping the faith and believing in me. I am humbled, honored, and blessed to be able to provide Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content to you. So go ahead and, let me know in the comments if you're enjoying videos or if I suck even, because any kind of engagement helps. So appreciate you guys. Let's get in here and let's talk about these marquee events leading into the era battles. So, as you all know, the Capital Games had released an update, and one of the things that they said was, hey, we are delaying the Pirate Era battle to happen later on. And for many of us, that meant we weren't going to get the free shards of Captain Atano. As Egnards and I have both always told people, listen, you get the character to 58 of 65 through their marquee at the end of their marquee event, and then you're going to get the 7 shards from tier 1 of the era battle, and then you can start attempting tier 2. We are still going to assume that the era battles tier 1 is capable of being done with one character, because that's all the information that we have. We don't know what's required, but we're going to assume that they're not changing that model. If they change that model, the blowback from the community will be crazy, right? So if you want to be super safe that CG's not going to do something like that, the super safe thing is get everybody to 58 to 65. But I don't think that's necessary. I don't think Egnards thinks that's necessary. We both believe that the era battle function is not going to change and that it's really just a timing situation of when they do and don't want to see them. Again, I don't know all the inner details. I'm not CG, but we're going to assume that for the purpose of this video, yes, there is that situation of if they change it, we could be screwed, but we're not going to buy into that. We're going to go off of the data that we have that it's going to be fine. Now, with that said, you have your Captain Atano. Mine is 64 of 65. I'm literally one friggin' shard away from having a 5-star Atano. So what you should be planning to do is the normal with whatever you were doing before. Like, hey, Quiggold, I'm not going to farm your extra shards. I'm not going to buy any packs of you. We're just going to leave it go. And the reason why you're going to leave it go, the reason why you're going to not do anything crazy for Quiggold is because we still have kicks. Right? We're going to get kicks. And again, I'm going to share my screen capture just to show this era of piracy update. So here's that, the pirate era characters. So we have Atano, Quiggold, then kicks, and then we get Brutus, Vane, and Captain Silvo, right? So we're going to get 6 marquees. Many of you are very familiar with this. The thing is, it's a 2-week break. Each character represents 2 weeks. So we've had our 2 weeks for Atano are up. Now we get Quiggold. 2 more weeks, we're going to get kicks. And then after kicks, we will be getting the, we should be getting an era battle, right? So there still are the marquee packs for Atano that are around. Now, I don't think these will be around at the time the era battle, let me go back to the game, sorry. These marquee packs, I don't believe this will be around when the marquee, or when the era battle comes back around. I could be wrong, but I don't think that this pack will be there. If it is, you'll be able to purchase this pack and you'll get your Atano if you don't get the shards to drop from the era battle event. However, once these disappear, Atano will be moving to shipments. When you look at the shipments, and I'll go to the weekly because I think that's a little bit easier. You've got Temple Guard and Scorch. Neither of them have the marquee packs available like Depa Balaba, but Depa is not in shipments yet. So what you're going to be able to do if you are free to play is spend even less crystals on the shards here and get your Atano to 5-star to be able to participate if you don't get the shards to drop from the marquee. So I don't think there's this massive panic of you're not going to be able to do it, because it's right here. They will in some way, shape, or form be accessible for you to get to that 5-star tier if the shards for him don't drop. So I don't want there to be this massive panic, because I do think that it is going to be very easy to still ensure that you're going to get this character. Some of you may get it through the Era Battle event. Some of you might have to come into, I think, the weekly shipments and purchase those for 800 crystals, which 10 for 800 is a steal compared to the $12.99 pack where you're most likely going to get 5 or 7 shards. So win-win situation there, right? So I don't want you to go crazy here. And the reason why I don't want you guys going crazy, the reason Egnards doesn't want you going crazy, is because you still have 3 more pirate units. When you look at Captain Atano and Quiggold and Kix, they're going to be so much easier to have completed than Brutus Vane and Captain Silvo at the time that Hondo does enter the game. Realistically, and I think actually, shouldn't say realistically, actually, Kix will be on a node before Captain Silvo is even in shipments. It takes, I think, about 1 month to go to shipments and 2 months to hit a node. I think that's the math. Someone correct me, but I think that is the way the math shakes out, is it's 2 months for a node, a month for shipments. So because Captain Silvo is going to be 6 weeks, really 6 weeks after Kix, Kix will be available on a node before Silvo's even available in shipments. So those 3 characters, those first 3, we don't need to worry about these guys as much. And if you're free to play, you don't want to worry about these 3 with extra crystals, right? You don't want to spend extra crystals here. That's not as valuable. The value is right here. The value is Silvo, Vane, and Brutus. Those are the ones that you're going to want to pay attention to, because they will block you from getting Hondo longer than the 3 above. Not just from an Era Battle perspective, but also when you think about when and where they're going to go, maybe not where, but when they're going to be farmable. So, if you are free to play and you're considering, like, what am I going to do with Quiggold, I would not do anything. I would not go crazy. I would not treat this any differently than you were treating the other Era Battle characters, where you went harder on the first one and everything else you kind of went, down on. You're just going to be rolling the dice and then maybe have to substitute that with some weekly shipment shards. But at the end of the day, that's still fine. That's still worth it, right? It's not, that's not the end of the world. Does it feel a little bit shisty? Absolutely. At the end of the day, is it still worth it? Yes. So I do recognize that this can change a little bit of the value, but I don't think you need to be going and trying to get every single pirate to that point, because it's not feasible. That's not going to make sense. Now, if you are someone like myself who buys the episode pass, or you're a light spender, maybe you're going to get these guys close to that anyway, just because you can, and it's not going to be overly taxing on your crystals, and that's great. But if you're free to play, I don't think you need to do that. And if they do change this marquee system, I will be very honest with you that I don't know if it's economically feasible for you to keep up with your refreshes and your conquests and everything else while also chasing every single marquee to that 58 or 5-star level every single time. I don't think that is a feasible thing for you to do. So I don't want that to come off super harsh, but I want it to just make sense for you that it doesn't really it's not economically feasible, and it's not an expectation for you to do that. So I don't want you guys going to that extreme. And if that change does come in, then maybe it begs the conversation that you don't do any extra shards, because you're going to be able to get the Era Battle with one character anyway. So there's a whole other, other situation to talk about, but I think this is how I would approach it, guys. I think status quo is still the name of the game, and that it just is a bit of a roll the dice on that tier. So I've talked enough about the same thing. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.